video is about histograms. You want to be able to draw a histogram, although it's not usually examined, but to have a good idea of how to draw them helps. You want to understand that the frequency of each class is proportional to the area of each bar. That is a fundamental thing. You want to understand how to calculate the class width, because you need that to answer the questions, and use these facts to answer questions on histograms involving proportion. So this area of S1 is usually considered one of the more demanding ones, and it doesn't matter if it takes you a bit of time to get used to it, so long as you keep practicing, keep going over the same questions. So if you could read the example now, please, from your sheet that you should have printed off from Moodle. You can pause if you need to. Right, so first of all, rather than answering the question to do with calculating width and height of the rectangle, we're going to have a look at how you did this at GCSE. So at GCSE, you would have been looking at the class width. So first of all, we look at the number of hours, and it said in the question it was rounded to the nearest hour. So in fact, the minimum number of hours you could do was 0, but the maximum number for this class, 5.5. So actually the class width is from 0 to 5.5, so the class width for the first class is 5.5. The frequency equals 20. So then what you would have done at GCSE is you would have calculated frequency density, so it would have been the frequency divided by the class width. That's not mathematical, it's just because I didn't lift the pen up enough. And you would get the number 3.6363, but for the purposes of drawing a histogram, 3.6 would be sufficient. And you would go on doing that from 6 to 7, it's actually 5.5 up to 7.5, so your classes have to meet, it's essential. And so that distance is 2. 16 divided by 2 gives you 8. You carry on with that. If you want to, carry on yourself. Pause now and you can check you're correct. So from 7.5 up to 10.5 we have 3, and 18 divided by 3 is 6. 10.5 to 15.5 is 5. 25 divided by 5 gives us 5. Similarly here we get 1.5, yes we do, 1.5. And the last one, 0.4. So you would have gone from 0 to 50, 50.5 on your x-axis, so 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You would label your axis as hours, there. And then up on the y-axis, using a ruler, you would get frequency density, and the maximum that is 8. Okay, and then what you do is you would draw in your bars. So the first bar goes from 0 to 5.5, so there's 5.5 is there, 3.6 here, so your bar would go like that. And of course you would be using a ruler, so it would look much better than mine does. Then we go up to 8 for the next one, and that finishes at 7.5. And for each of these bars, the area equals the frequency. At A level, the area is proportional to the frequency. So it's equal to a number times the frequency. So in fact, that distance there isn't necessarily, on scale-wise, it might not be 3.6, it could be 7.2. Okay, so what we do to deal with that is we don't actually draw a histogram at all. We think about how we calculate area, So first of all, we're looking at the question here. So it says a histogram was drawn, and they tell you what the rectangle, what the height and width of the rectangle is for the class that goes from 8 to 10. And they want us to calculate the width and height of the rectangle representing the group 16 to 25. Okay. What I do for these is I think about what the 8 to 10 rectangle would look like and the 16 to 25 rectangle. So let's say that's my 8 to 10 rectangle. So in fact the bottom number here, the lower bound was 7.5, the top number, upper bound, 10.5. So that distance there, the class width is 3. We've been told in the question that it was 1.5 centimetres wide. So that's actually, the class width is 3 and it's given in 1.5 centimetres, which means that if you know the class width, you can hide it to find the width, halve it, don't know why you'd hide it, halve it to find the width of the bar. 16 to 25 then, we can write down the width of the bar. Now this is usually the first mark because it is the easiest mark for these questions. 16 to 25 is actually 15.5 to 25.5. That's a distance of 10 for class width. So we halve that to get the actual distance, 5 centimetres. So we've answered part of the question as well. The width, 5 centimetres. We can't work out the height until we have a good idea of how the frequency and area are related. So we know the height for this one is 3 centimetres. The area of the bar, I like to write it in the bar because it gives me an idea that I'm dealing with area rather than the length. And the area of the bar is 3 times 1.5, 4.5 centimetres squared. The frequency for that particular class is from 8 to 10, so it's 18. So how is the frequency related to the area? What do you do to the area to get the frequency? Well, I can see that if I multiply my area by 4, I get my frequency. So frequency, wouldn't it have been good if I'd started over there? There we go. Frequency equals 4 times area. That is crucial, because we can use that, we know the frequency for our other bar, we can use it to find the area, we know that distance, so we can get the height. So for this one, we know the frequency is 16 to 25. I'll keep checking, I don't want to make a mistake. Frequency is 15. Frequency is 4 times area, which means area must be frequency divided by 4. And 15 divided by 4, this is where I wish I was holding my calculator, is 15 divided by 2, 7.5, so 3.75. Just going to grab my calculator and be a good role model, because you should really check these things. I know as a maths student, certainly as a maths teacher, I should be confident with that, but sometimes under pressure, at the board like this, being videoed, in an exam situation, you lose leave of your senses, so it's sensible to check. So if the area is 3.75 centimetres squared, and area is base times height, then the height, much as it doesn't feel right, must be the area divided by the class width. Let's have a look, see what that is. 0.75. That feels better. So the height, 0.75 centimetres, width is, we've got 5 centimetres. That's it. Okay? Strongly advise that what you do now is you go back to the question, print it out again if you have to, and work through it yourself. And then try the questions that are in the worksheet that are also in the Moodle book. Okay?